Vicarious trauma is not the same thing as burnout. Burnout can be relieved if you relax normally, watch television, do exercise, or read a book at the end of the day. So as you might imagine, vacations are very effective in reducing burnout. In contrast, vicarious trauma, or VT, may get activated while watching television. With VT, trying to enjoy yourself on vacation can be frustrating because for some very good biological and survival reasons, the traumatized mind may actually want to avoid relaxation. The mind and body both have unique ways to remember trauma even when a person leaves the trauma environment. So sadly, rest and relaxation are not targeted enough to relieve the neurobiological adaptations associated with trauma. If you have a job that involves working with people who are in crisis, then you are touched by trauma. Studies show that traumatic exposure of occupations are, in a sense, contagious, and that is why VT is often mentioned interchangeably with the term secondary traumatic stress. Beneficiaries of our work are said to be primarily affected by trauma. Through our work with them, we may experience that traumatic stress secondarily. Healthcare, humanitarian aid, rescue workers, police, religious service organizations, nonprofits that work with people in crisis, these are all vulnerable organizations because in the process of helping people, they have close contact with human misery. Signs of VT can be obvious, such as increased nightmares, or flashbacks, which are waking reminders of one's work. But usually, VT shows up in ways that do not seem connected to service work at all. For example, professional helpers may be irritable with their coworkers and their family. They frequently develop sleeping difficulties. Those touched by VT may find it challenging to relax like other people relax. Such neurobiological irritability is called hyperarousal, and it is related to traumatic work content. Hyperarousal is an adaptation that a traumatized mind and body make in order to stay alert for danger. Further signs of VT include concentration problems or memory gaps. A person may not be able to function 100% due to cognitive difficulties like this. All of us have what is called subcortical activity, which is like computer background programs in the unconscious parts of the mind. We need this activity to survive. But if a person dealing with a lot of trauma does not metabolize that trauma, this subcortical activity consumes more of the brain and takes attention and energy away from day-to-day decisions and actions. This may not only lead to doing poor quality work, but it could lead to misjudging situations and making unsafe decisions. So while VT is an occupational hazard, that doesn't mean everyone in this field automatically has a condition or that helpers are fated to be victims of trauma. What it does mean is that when helper organizations absorb a great deal of trauma, the overall cost of not addressing VT can be massive because your human assets are compromised. It also means that helper organizations have a special opportunity to maximize the program quality and the worker quality of life by addressing VT. My expertise area as a physician is preventive and behavioral medicine. In this field, our role is to lay out a menu of options that people can choose from. The strategies I offer people help prevent problems before they affect a person's work and life. Furthermore, I believe it is important to adapt strategies that fit the culture of the people with whom I am working. Healthcare providers, humanitarian workers, nonprofit staff, first responders. These groups frequently work with people who are fearful, grieving, anxious, or under siege. I urge all these helper organizations to institute strategies that metabolize VT. I think it is only a matter of time before all organizations see that preventing and mitigating VT is a long-term investment in occupational sustainability. We are not going to eliminate VT, and doing self-care and prevention strategies for several hours a day is not an option. With a little organizational support, however, people like myself can show how it is easy to adopt targeted strategies ranging from self-care, leadership interventions, and smart management. We can really do this without resorting to great financial costs. In my experience, in fact, organizations have either suddenly realized or eventually realized that they cannot afford not to prevent VT. Ultimately, all helpers and caregivers need strategies to metabolize the stress that comes with the territory of what is extremely demanding and rewarding work. I think we can agree that no helper should have to pay an emotional cost to do this work if that cost is preventable. My personal mission, therefore, is to see that people stay as healthy as possible while doing this work for as long as they want. I envision a world in which people can have deeply meaningful jobs, helping those in need, and also maintain an optimal level of mental and physical well-being.